We have some major news to discuss today as the Toronto Maple Leafs are making moves as they have officially signed a defenseman. So I want to break down that signing and discuss what it could mean going forward and the impact it could have on the Leafs. So stay tuned for that in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as a major problem the Leafs face regarding Ilya Samsanov. He had another disastrous start against the Buffalo Sabres, and things are not looking good for him and the future. So you're stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we do get into it, a quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. About 80% of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed. So scroll down. If you aren't subscribed, make sure to hit that button. We upload daily Leafs content. Now, we have a lot to discuss today. A couple of different topics, and we'll start with the positive news, and then we'll kind of get into the negative news regarding Ilya Samsonov, which has been a disaster. But we'll start with the positive news, and the Leafs are making moves, and they made a very interesting signing this afternoon on Friday, December 22nd. And if you're unfamiliar with this guy, you're not alone. A lot of Leafs fans out there weren't super familiar, and they at least didn't expect the Leafs to do this today, and they have officially, you can see here, the Maple Leafs have officially signed Noah Chadwick to a 3-year entry-level contract. And I just threw in this little tweet at the bottom basically saying teams don't usually sign their 6th-round pick in the same calendar year unless they really impress. And yeah, like I said, I was going to say, Noah Chadwick, he is a 6th-round pick. He is a huge body. He's been off to a phenomenal start to his professional hockey career, and this is a guy I've had my eye on for a while, but I did not expect the Leafs to extend him, or I guess sign him to a 3-year deal / extension this early on in, I guess, his professional career. So again, Chadwick, 3-year deal. He's a 6th-round pick this year, has 24 points in 30 games with the Hurricanes, and like I said, he's huge. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, and has been off to a phenomenal start, already recording 47 points in 110 career regular season games as a defenseman. Now, Noah Chadwick is such an interesting guy to discuss. And again, he was a 6th-round pick, so nothing super crazy. And the Leafs see something very, very big in him. And all of us, we're all waiting eagerly for Brad Treliving to improve the blue line, to improve the goalie, to make moves. And this is not necessarily the move that a lot of Leafs fans out there wanted. They obviously want an NHL-ready move, and it's not Chris Tanev. This isn't a major defensive upgrade right now, but this could pay some big dividends going forward as, of course, they sign him to a 3-year deal, and he is exactly what the Leafs need in the sense of a mold of a player. I'm not saying he's ready to be called up to the Leafs right now, because that's absolutely not the case. But the point is, he's 6'4", he's 200 plus pounds. He is an absolute enforcer. He's a brute. He's putting up a very respectable stat line for the Hurricanes so far this season, putting up 24 points in 30 games, following and already surpassing his point total from last year with the Lethbridge Hurricanes in 67 games, off to an absolutely phenomenal start. The Leafs lock him up for 3 more years. He's only 18 years old after getting drafted 185th overall in the 2023 NHL draft. And again, some of you might be familiar with him, some of them not, depending how closely you follow the NHL draft there. But the people were raving about him on Twitter. Everyone's excited. Again, drafted in the 6th round. He's off to a great start. He's put the puck in the net a lot. Already has 7 goals through 30 games, on track for a lot of goals, around 20 goals. This could be a guy that pays dividends in the future. We talk about Fraser Minton. We talk about Easton Cowan. And this guy, obviously, Noah Chadwick, we haven't spoken about him too much or at all on this channel because he was only drafted in the 2023 draft pretty late, later on in the draft, born in 2005. But he is a guy that could potentially pay big dividends going forward if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. And signing him right now, like this guy said here, teams usually, there's some obviously extreme cases and there's some exceptions to this rule, but teams usually don't sign their 6th-round pick in the same calendar year unless they really impress. And this guy is exciting, and I'm hoping he continues this great trajectory, and maybe he'll be asked to get called up to the Maple Leafs. Obviously not this year, he's only 18, but sooner than we may think, especially with the confidence that they're showing in this guy, already giving him a big, not necessarily a big, but a 3-year contract deal. It's very interesting, and it's something to keep an eye out in case, obviously, he's no Chris Tanev. He's not going to make an immediate impact this season, but he has played so good in the WHL for the Lethbridge Hurricanes, and for a 6th-round pick, you could not ask more. He's a left-handed shot defenseman, and he's an absolute brute, and he's 6'4". He could be an enforcer. This is a guy I'm super excited to see, and maybe we'll hear more about him as the years progress over the next year or two. Who knows if he makes an impact next year? Who knows if he makes an impact this year? Crazier things have happened. But let me know in the comment section if you are excited for Noah Chadwick. And I just wanted to bring this up because it's a very interesting signing today, and this guy is a super electric player, and hopefully he can make a big impact going forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And again, it's not necessarily the transaction you see the Maple Leafs sign, you get all excited. Not necessarily the transaction that we all expected today, given the way they've played lately, the Toronto Maple Leafs, that is. but it's one that you can't be upset about. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that. And let's quickly move on now to the Leafs have a major problem now. We didn't get a post-game out yesterday. We had an upload earlier today about about Auston Matthews. That was before the game yesterday. Buffalo Sabres obviously crushed the Maple Leafs 9-3, I believe, and Ilya Samsanov continues to struggle. The goalie tandem right now is not looking too bright. Even Martin Jones struggled in yesterday's game, but we're looking at Ilya Samsanov, and the Leafs have a big problem to fix, and they need to fix it fast. We haven't heard much updates on Joseph Woll, so we can assume he's out for at least a few more weeks. And this is getting a little bit dire for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Who knows if maybe their luck has run out, their chemistry has run out a little bit. I know there's reports coming out that in practice today, the lines are being shuffled. They're maybe mixing back up Marner and Matthews. The question is, our goaltending has been really bad. Martin Jones, obviously, through his 3 or 4 games, hasn't been horrible. He's been fairly serviceable. But Ilya Samsonov has been an absolute disaster. And when you're looking at his, progressively getting worse throughout the seasons, it is very, very scary to see. You can see last year he had about a .920 save percentage. Very good numbers last year in 42 games played, collecting 27 wins. This season, 14 games played, 5 wins, only an 87 save percentage, and a -6 GSAX expected goals. This is bad. It's getting to a point now where I don't want to harp on Ilya Samsonov too much. I've been kind of on the train the whole season of let him get some running. Hopefully he can find his rhythm. And once Joseph Woll went down, we were thinking, okay, this is Ilya Samsonov's chance to prove himself, his chance to get into rhythm, get consistent starts. And he goes out and lets in 4 or 5 goals against a Buffalo Sabres team who's doing okay. They're on a bit of a hot streak, but are not a very good team whatsoever. And when you are putting yourself in a position every single night, having arguably the worst goalie between no matter what team they play on the ice, you're putting yourself in a very disadvantaged position, because not only is our goaltending struggling right now with Samsonov, Jones is doing okay. I'm not going to harp on Jones too much. He's going to start tomorrow, which I'll show you in a second, but our defense hasn't been phenomenal either. Obviously, they've had guys stepping up. Timmins has been pretty solid. Benoit's been solid. We have Morgan Riley. But our defense and our blue line is not elite right now, especially defensively. We're battling with some injuries on that front. Mark Giordano is hopefully going to come back soon. But we have a mediocre goaltender. The blue line is not where we need it to be Stanley Cup ready. And we're going to start losing games and slipping down these standings very soon if we don't either figure out the blue line, obviously figure out the goaltending specifically. And I don't know what you do if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You obviously have Martin Jones, who's expected to get the net tomorrow versus the Jackets. Obviously, Samsonov struggling. Changes are going on up front. Sheldon Keefe is mixing things up now, mixing back Marner and Matthews supposedly in practice today. So maybe that'll give some more jolt to the team. But the major issue and the major problem that the Leafs have to solve is in between the pipes with Ilya Samsonov and Martin Jones. You got to just ride Martin Jones at this point until there's a back-to-back, and then let Samsonov try to figure it out again. Because at this point, if Joseph Woll was coming back, it would be a big decision. I would personally probably rather have Martin Jones and Joseph Woll than Joseph Woll and Ilya Samsonov at this point. Samsonov has showed me nothing. Thank God that Brad Treliving didn't give him that contract to let it go to arbitration, because that's looking like a very good move. They'll probably let him walk this season if he even makes it to the end of the year. But he borderline lost us that game against the Sabres yesterday. We obviously didn't have a great defensive game. We didn't have a great offensive game, putting up only 3 goals against a mediocre Sabres team. But the point is, this is a problem. It needs to be solved, and I don't know what they can do besides just let Martin Jones ride it out. Don't let Ilya Samsonov get between the pipes again until there's a back-to-back game. And I don't know, it's a big deal, and Martin Jones gets that nod tomorrow against the Blue Jackets. But that'll wrap up the video. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on the goalie tandem, as well as Noah Chadwick. And it's an interesting time to be a Leafs fan. The goaltending is struggling. A lot of things are struggling, and hopefully the Leafs can pick it up soon. But that'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought, and we'll see you tomorrow.